Hello and welcome to Saying Average and the contents of my sock drawer, because the only problem with my Occult Shelf, which is what we're going to be talking about today, 2.0, I know it's been long expected, but like I keep putting this video off for some reason. But yeah, it's slightly overcast today, so the room's a bit dark, I do apologise. I could always put the flash on, I suppose. Apologies, flash is going on in 3, 2, 1. There we go. But yeah, I thought I'd go on about my new Occult Shelf today. Like, the new books, because I've done a rearrange ages ago and I've been meaning to mention. Apologies if I sound a bit puffed out, I've been moving some things around and it's a bit hot in here, despite it being overcast, you know, typical British clammy weather. But yeah, let me move these out of the way. I've got like some incense things that are in there. There we go. And on my foot. We'll start over here. Most of this is notebooks. Most of it's notebooks. There's another notebook. Notebooks. This is an art book. Excuse all my cable management. My poor cable management. But yeah, I got this as a present. I might just pick a random page because I don't know, there's some suggestive art in it. So I'm just going to pick a page that doesn't have anything as suggestive on it. Excuse me a moment while I try and find something. I went from the back of the book, which was a mistake. Come on, there's got to be something. Yeah, that'll do, I guess. Like this fallen angel guy. There you go. Just a preview of like some of the art. It's got like vampires, fairies, pagan art, demons, all that sort of like, you know, dark fantasy stuff. I'll put these back later. I'll just pop them out of the way for now. The Resurrectionist, which isn't like a magic thing, I just had nowhere for it. It's basically a book about, I don't know what you really class him as, like a mad scientist turned surgeon, I suppose, that makes like fake mythical creatures for like, you know, like a freak show type thing. If I remember rightly, it's been a while since I read it. Alternate Affirmations is basically just like affirmations, goth-ish affirmations. Nightshades, I can tell you about. Come on, you. Get out of the way. Nightshades, which is partly a book explaining branches of the Clythoth and part a meditative experience. But basically, like I said, it's been a while since I read it. If I remember rightly, there was a bunch of participants and they'd put like a meditative ambience and there'd be like demonic colouring pages. Because I don't know what else to describe them as. But yeah, there'd be demonic colouring pages and like they would scan them out and they would colour them in the meditative ambience and they'd see if any messages come to them. Or something along those lines. While they were doing it. It was kind of like a trance-like state type thing. There you go, there's one. There's a cool, like, snakefish thing. But yeah, there'd be, like, a bunch of art. And it'd put them in, like, a meditative experience and, you know, that sort of thing. See if any messages come to them and all that. Trance via colouring. You know, all that fun stuff. This one, this magazine, I don't really get magazines, but this was vampires. You know. This one, apologies, I have no script or anything, I'm just like doing this freehand, so if I like stop to think. But yeah. It's mostly like your usual stuff, like Vlad the Impaler and Elizabeth Bathory and stuff like that. Bathory, whatever. But there is a bit, I have bookmarked, as you can tell. There is a bit in the back, it's a bit squished and it's hard to find. But there is a bit in the back. There's a little bit of psychic vampires down here. Take it with a grain of salt, because as with any sort of like real vampire interviews or like media portrayals of us, they might get some things a little wrong. Like this bit I'm not sure on. But yeah, there's a little bit on us. See? There's a little tiny, like, smidgen squished section in the back about us. See, black swans. And, like, sanguinarians and stuff as well. There's a little, like, you know, bloodborne diseases and porphyria and all that yada yada. Like I said, media portrayal, my hand is shaking. Like I said, you know, take interviewers interviewing us with a grain of salt, because, like I said, you know. But yeah, they know, and we know they know. So that's very cool. I'll put that out the way. I'll put my bookmark back later. But yeah, that was a cool little addition. I was not expecting that. And I was very excited. Still kind of am, as my hand's shaking. That we got like some kind of portrayal. This is hard to hold in my hand. I should really get like a selfie stick or something. We got Living the Personal Myth. No, that's the wrong one. This is, yeah, like I said, I have to move this drawer to get some of these out. But yeah, we got Living the Personal Myth. I have done a spellbook review on this one, so I won't go on much about it. But it's basically coming up with your own sort of like personal mythology and stuff, and like living it out. Living your life how you want. Old psychology stuff. Come on. We've also got... Come on. You big lug. I'm being attacked by my sock drawer. We have the Elfin Book of Spells for All Occasions. It's in English and it's an Arvendace Elvish. I have a few highlighted, as you can see. And like, as you can see, what's a good... I'll try and get a good one as an example. But yeah, as you can see flicking through, there's like Arvendace and there's like English as well. There's crystals and colours and like herb associations and things as well. All that good stuff. Hold on. Let me have a look at the contents. Let me have a look at what I've highlighted in the contents. There's got to be a good one somewhere. Finding Lost Treasures, 74, that'll do. 74. Alright, there you are. There you go. See, you've got it in English, you've got it in Elvish, you've got how to phonetically pronounce it, because Elvish can be hard to pronounce. You've got all your colours, your crystals, all that lovely stuff. Fun correspondence, actually. I don't know if this was coincidence, it might have just been coincidence. You know, take everything with a grain of salt and all that. But there is one in here for, like, the dentists, and I did it the night before, and the day I was due to go to the dentist, by the time it came around to my appointment, the power shut out. There was a power cut through the whole road, and I needed to come back on a different day, so take of that what you will. We have our old friends Nocturnal Witchcraft and Gothic Grimoire. I have mentioned these in the previous Occult Shelf, so I won't go on too much about them. But these are not the original ones I had. I got rid of them and I got them again because I was feeling nostalgic. You can see my Joy-Con box in the background there. But yeah, I felt nostalgic, so I got them again. These were the books that got me into magic, really. Like, to start with. I won't go on too much about them because, like I said, they're in version 1. The Bones Fall in a Spiral, which was a wee bit of an impulse purchase because I remember being recommended it and I can't remember where it was recommended from. But I'd heard this book before. I was like, where have I heard this from before? I think I've heard this recommended by a YouTuber. And I couldn't remember what YouTuber it was at the time. But I remembered. Once I bought it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember who recommended this now. And if I remember, I will pop like a little video in the annotations. But yeah, this is like, as you can see, necromancy. It's got all like your... what's the bit that I've highlighted? I highlight a lot in these books because, like, some of them I know I'm just not going to get rid of. Come on, there's got to be a bit of highlighted in here somewhere. My highlighter ran out halfway through, so... Some of it isn't. But, of course, like the blood page. The blood page has got like a little dot next to it. But yeah, it's got like how to use blood, bones, how to clean them, health and safety, all that sort of thing, a bunch of spells. All that good stuff. These are going to be a pain to put back. We've got this Halloween magic one, which is kind of a similar thing. It doesn't go into, like, what is necromancy, what is the history of Halloween, it just goes straight into it. Which might throw some people off. It just goes straight into the spells. No, like, introduction, no welcome, just straight in. Straight into the spells. Which is, you know, doesn't bother me. 13 doors to the realms of the Dark Goddess, which is Daemon Barzai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. There's quite a bit of Daemon Barzai and that on there. Like, not everyone goes much on Barzai and that sort of stuff, and that's understandable. But personally, I quite like sort of like the way Barzai writes and stuff. So, this one is the black edition, so it's got like artwork and stuff in it as well. Let me just pick a page. Hold on, let me do the contents again. I keep forgetting these things have contents. Yeah, you can see I highlight ones I don't think I'm going to get rid of. My neighbour is doing work, so hopefully that's not too loud. I apologise in advance if it is. But yeah, we've got like a bunch of realms, some path working, some meditations, some dream work, which is interesting. There are a couple of typos, but I think I hope it's a he. I think their first language is Portuguese or Spanish or something like that. Their first language isn't English. So, like, naturally there might be a few, like, lost in translation or spelling errors. But, like, as you can see, you've got your explanation as to the realm. You've got your path working. Yes, see typo. But yeah, you've got your path working, you've got your dream rituals and all that cool stuff. Basically, there is a... let me see if I can find one, actually. Should be a sigil for each door. Because each door is like a gateway. This is hard to do with one hand. I do apologise. But yeah, there you go. There's an example. Each sigil works like a door. Basically, you envision the sigil getting bigger, and then like you walk through it as if it's a door, and you end up in that realm. And then you get taught by the guardian of whatever realm with whatever they're good at. So, like, say there's one that's good with arcane knowledge, you can go to that one with assistance in your divination, etc., etc. But yeah, we got that. We got Rites of Lilith, which is also Barzai. There it is. Daemon Barzai, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm not sure. This sort of works like 13 doors, but it's for Lilith specifically, and like Lilith's different aspects. So you've got like Lilith as a spider goddess. You've got like Lilith in like her vampiric aspect. Yeah, you've got like, you know, you got like a bunch of different masks, if you will, of Lilith, which is funny because that is, I think, the next book on my list actually to go through on there. But yeah, it's basically sort of like 13 doors, but instead of a bunch of different goddesses, it's Lilith's different masks and aspects and what's the one of archetypes, that sort of thing. So you've got like Lilith as a vampire, Lilith as a spider, Lilith as like the hag, Lilith as a succubus, all that sort of thing. You've got like the different aspects, that's what I'm looking for, Lilith. This one, I will admit, wee woo. I will admit, this one, I didn't notice at the time. It doesn't bother me personally, but I know a lot of you don't like it. This one is written with AI assistance, I have found. I found out later this one is written with the assistance of some AI. So there are some spells written by a learning language model, or large language, LLM, whatever it stands for. I will warn you, there is a little bit of AI in this one. I'll just be blunt, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't really bother me, but I know a lot of people, like, don't like it for whatever reason. I completely understand. I know. I'm just letting you know there is, you know. So if that's not your thing, or you would rather not support it, I didn't realise until I got it. But I mean, it's fine. But I can understand why some people wouldn't, you know. But there are some spells that are written by, like, with AI assistance in here. So I'm just letting you know. But it's a bunch of different, does the blurb say anything? No, it doesn't. But yeah, it's basically a whole bunch of spells associated with Lilith. There's like hexes, curses, blessings, spell jars, all that sort of thing. But like I said, it is written with AI assistance, so I can understand, you know, this one's a bit of a grey area. So I can understand why some of you might, you know. Like I said, I didn't realise until I got it. But yeah, I'm just letting you guys know. Because I know, you know, AI is a whole, like, giant grey area. We have Lilith, masks, rituals, and manifestations. This is similar to... where did it go? This is similar to Rites of Lilith, in a way. But it also goes into, like, lore on different aspects, and, like, history and stuff like that as well. There are a few spells in there. There's a few different, like, aspects. There's a few aspects that this book goes on about that this one doesn't. So if there's a certain aspect of Lilith that you're wondering about that this book doesn't cover, this one might cover it. This one goes into the lore a bit more, like I said, and, like, the history of her and, like, her different aspects and deities that are associated with her as well that you could also contact. You know, for, like, similar sort of things. If you don't necessarily want to contact Lilith herself, there's, like, oh, this entity also works with a similar aspect, so you can contact this entity instead if you're not, like, you know, comfortable with... But yeah, that sort of goes into that. There's different, like, rituals and things. As you can tell, there's different sort of... There's entities associated with, like, similar as well, like the Four Queens of Hell. Like, Namar's in this, Agrabah Malar's in this. I hope I pronounced that right, that's a hard one to pronounce. Aisha Senanim. Those sorts of entities are also in here as well, so if those intrigue you. She is... she is dressed a little weirdly, I must admit. But yeah, that's that one. We have 2 books in the Tree of Shadows series. There are some other ones, but these ones specifically intrigued me, considering the entities I work with. We've got... which one is book 1? This one's book 1. We've got one on Lilith. This is sort of like Clyphothic work. So this goes more into... instead of just meditating on, like, Lilith and entities themselves, this actually sort of, like, it's a bit more, like, path working. You actually go into the tree and, like, go through the tunnels and, you know, learn lessons from these entities and stuff. You actually, like, sort of path work your way through the tree itself, as well as working with these entities. So this one's a bit more, you know... Apologies about my foot, by the way. Yeah, see, like, it goes through, like, the tunnels, specifically. There's a couple of my notes, as you can see in there. Fantafaxa. There you go, there's an example one. It goes into a bit of lore on, like, the tunnel itself. It goes into sort of, like, what you would learn in it. Some dream work. Some, like, rituals. You know, all that sort of good stuff. This one is similar. But this one goes into, like, Gamaliel. The realm of Gamaliel and, like, the side branches. Tunnels, whatever you want to call them. This is why I went with this one. Because it has Kane in it. It's a bit hard to explain. But yeah, basically I started working with Lilith. And Kane came through. It was kind of like, hey, I see you're working with sort of, like, older... darker, sort of, like, more primordial entities again. And he kind of came through as a sort of, like, 2-for-1. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like a 2-for-1 special. So he's like, hey, you're working with, like, primordial vampiric entities again. And, like, his vampiric aspect came through, and, you know. But yeah, this is the same sort of thing, but with different entities. Hopefully that was alright. I was wearing pants. I'm gonna put these all back yet. We've got the Lilith Oracle book. This one this is all sort of like handwritten, but it does have AI art in it. So like, you know, wee woo again. But yeah, it's basically sort of like a, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Book of Answers, where like you'd ask a question, you'd turn to a page and it'll give you an answer. It's like a Magic 8 Ball, but it's an oracle book. So you'd ask it a question, you'd turn to like a random page, say, oh, arachnophobia, sorry. You turn to a random page, you'll ask a random question, and there you go, there's a snake. Snake warning. But yeah, it does have spiders and snakes and stuff in it, so apologies to people who don't like spiders or snakes or anything. My bad. But yeah, you know, you'd ask it a question, and it would give you an answer in a way that sort of like the entity would answer, in this case, Lilith. But yeah, you know, cool thing. Lilith, goddess of Citra Ara, which I think I have mentioned in the previous one. I think I went through this one. Can't remember. I have a spellbook review on this book as well, actually. So there's that as well. Which is basically more lore on Lilith and more like sort of spells and stuff. Some of this, actually most of this, is male witches. So if you would like a sort of masculine point of view on Lilith, there is a lot of like lust and red magic. I can't remember if it's this one or Dark Feminine Archetype, but there is a little bit of like... There's a lot of like Lilith as a succubus or like a temptress, so if that's not really your thing, you might want to sort of, you know... There's some like vampirism and stuff as well. But yeah, it's like different aspects of Lilith from sort of like a masculine point of view, so, you know, if you're a male witch and you're interested in Lilith, and you know, you wouldn't mind doing like lust work and stuff, you know, might be something you're interested in. This one, if you remember Happy Belated Birthday Sang Average, this was an impulse purchase because Kane is a bit of a nuisance to find stuff for that isn't VTM or supernatural related. Anyone who works with him, you'll understand my pain. This one was a bit of an... Excuse me. This one was a bit... Hay fever. This one was a bit of impulse purchase. But yeah, it's... The handwriting's a bit... What handwriting? What is it? The font's a little odd. But it's got, like, offerings you can give him, like different types of graveyard dirt. There's... sort of, like, divination you can do with him. There's, like, oils, or fluid. Like, ritual oils. You know, like, spells to him, and how to, like, set up his altar and stuff like that, basically. Little lore on him. All that good stuff. And then we've got the asset car stuff. Not an association, not affiliated with the asset car in any way. I just like their metaphysics and philosophies. I have done a lengthy video on Assationism. You have Comet, A Year in Revelation, which is an art book of different places in ancient Egypt. This is moving around a lot. Different places in ancient Egypt. You can also use it as a sort of like meditation guide or like a, you know, that sort of thing if you wanted to. There is a better video on these sorts of books that explain it a lot better than I do. If I can find it, I'll put it in the annotations. We have the Assation Bible, which I have also explained in the first version of the Occult Shelf. It's basically like vampirism from an Egyptian perspective, and like, you know, metaphysics and that sort of thing. If you're into Egypt and you're into vampires, specifically like living vampires, this might be up your alley. This one is Book of Orion. This one goes into sort of like more magical metaphysics. It goes into like how vampires could use to Qliphoth specifically and like that sort of stuff. So like lots of like Qliphothic working, lots of metaphysics, you know, lots of questions and stuff in that one. This one, this shelf is just gonna go, yep. This one is basically Louis Marquez's Twitter in book form. But this one I like to use as a divination book. I don't know if anyone else does, but I like to use this as a divination book. So like I'll ask a question and a number will come to me from 1 to, I think there's 333 in here. So any number between 1 and 333, or a few numbers between 1 and 333, and I use it sort of like as an oracle book, like a book of answers, like the Lilith book from earlier. So I'll ask it a question and it'll be like, oh, number 23. for example, and you go through... Oh, that's too far. It has a little, like, lore and stuff in it as well. You know, like Associationism stuff. 23, did I say? Yeah, there we go, 23. You don't find the truth finds you. And then, like, you'd use that sort of as a message, if you will, as to, like, the answer to it. It's like a tarot, but in book form. Is like how I like to use this one. The last book on our... Oh, this is going to be a pain to sort out again. This is why I didn't want to do this one. Yep, there it goes. Last book on our thing. This has gone on a bit longer than I thought it would, honestly. But yeah, this is Hallowtide. This one I got as a present. It's all sort of like one which is experience with Halloween. My voice is going, you can hear. I need a drink. But yeah, it's like a witch's... One which is particular, what she does for Halloween. Spells and rituals you can do. And all that sort of thing. There's some poetry. It's basically a devotional book to, like, Halloween and, like, the darker aspects of Halloween. Like, the original sort of, like, lore. What old witches used to do versus what she does. Like, you know, ideas of what you could do if you're a bit old to be trick-or-treating or you don't do trick-or-treating. There's some, like, witchy stuff that you can do in here. All that sort of thing, which is very cool. We have 3 tarot decks. Well, 2 tarot decks and an oracle deck. We have the Dracula oracle deck, which I think I showed you a little bit of in Happy Belated Birthday Sang Average. We've got the Gothic Tarot of Vampires, which I've done a brief look at. And we have my personal new favourite. I kept umming and ahhing about whether I wanted to get this or not. And I'm actually quite happy that I've just decided, you know what, screw it, I'll impulse purchase it. We got Tarot V. A cool little detail about this box, actually. This is probably going to go on for about 30 minutes. Notice how his eyes are closed, and then you open it, and then, like, this is round the wrong way. His eyes are open, and he's, like, well fed and stuff. There's, like, little details like that. Like, this side, her eyes are different, she's covered in blood and all that sort of thing. There's a little attention to detail in the box that I like. The cards themselves are very nice. I'm not going to go through it in this video. There's probably someone who's done a tarot review of this tarot deck, just in case I don't. The cool thing about this one is the way I do divination for myself is I don't just do, like, tarot readings occasionally on YouTube and, like, for family members and stuff. I like to do divination for myself, but the divination I do for myself is a bit different than your usual sort of, like, tarot reading divination, like the spreads in the past, present, and future, and the, like, one card readings and that. It's a little different than that, which is why I like the inclusion of, there's shadow work meanings as well for every card. So you've got the normal reading, you've got the reversed meaning, and, excuse me, right now, I'll show you. Look at my dirty floor. And you've got the shadow work meaning as well. Let's just take a random one, for example. Let's take the devil. Appropriate. And it has, like, its normal meaning. Come on, book. It's made of that, like, glossy stuff, so it's a pain to open. You've got the normal meaning, you've got the reverse meaning, you've got the keywords. See that you've got the normal meaning, you've got the reverse meaning, you've got the keywords, and you also have what's called shadow dance, which is basically, if you're working on shadow work, it basically tells you, like, the shadow work meaning. So in this case, it's like you have permission to seek pleasure. This card represents the ultimate shadow's projection, giving us a frightening face to everything we have ever been told is wrong for us. The most hidden desires cry out to be released, to be acted upon, and to be realised. But yeah, it gives you shadow work meanings as well, which is very cool, because I think this is the only deck I know that does it. But considering the way I do divination, this is really, really helpful. That it's got shadow work meanings. The cards are really pretty as well. I think Judgment is my favourite one. It's like a vampire with, like, walking up to a castle in the snow, and there's, like, a trail of blood on the snow. It's really cool. But yeah, I've got the notebooks on that side as well. But that's personal stuff. I am going to sort out this mess of a shelf now. So I will see you guys in a future video. I'll also take a drink. So, bye-bye.